Welcome to NBA Stories, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about Anthony Edwards and the possibility that he could win the 2025-26 NBA Most Valuable Player Award. Anthony Edwards is an electric scorer who grew into a franchise leader in front of our eyes. He went from explosive rookie to legitimate top-tier offensive star in just a few seasons. What makes him compelling as an MVP candidate is not a single skill, but a stacked combination of scoring volume, efficiency, and a changed team context. First, let us set the baseline facts that matter for an MVP conversation. In the 2024-25 season, Edwards averaged more than 27 points per game while logging heavy minutes and carrying the Timberwolves offense. The Timberwolves reached meaningful team success and were not an island of empty counting stats. Bookending those two facts is the narrative that voters reward a player who combines elite production with team wins. Now let us examine Edwards as a scorer. He is a rare blend of power and craft on the perimeter. He can bully smaller guards and outrun slower defenders. He has improved his jump shot and added more pull-up efficiency. He is comfortable creating off the dribble in isolation situations. He is also fearless in late game moments, and that matters for highlight reels in voter memory. Volume matters for MVP models. Edwards can carry huge scoring loads and sustain them over long stretches of a season. But volume alone is not enough. Efficient volume is what separates memorable seasons from mere scoring binges. Edwards has shown improvements in his shooting splits and in his shot selection during critical stretches. Defense often gets short shrift in casual MVP debates, but it matters both for team success and for narrative. Edwards is not only a scorer, he has developed into a more engaged team defender. His steal and block numbers do not fully capture the value he brings by chasing passing lanes and forcing turnovers. If voters see the Wolves climb the standings because of a two-way identity, then his case is stronger. Let us talk team context and market visibility. The Timberwolves are a franchise with recent deep playoff runs and national visibility. That matters because MVP voters are human and narratives are sticky. A player who performs on national television in clutch moments is more likely to be remembered. Edwards checks that box with big scoring nights and charismatic on-court moments. Competition matters. The 2025-26 MVP field includes established superstars and rising phenoms. Names like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Victor Wembanyama, and Nikola Jokic are natural reference points. That makes Edwards a relative dark horse rather than the prohibitive favorite in most sportsbooks. But being a dark horse is not the same as being hopeless. MVPs are occasionally won by players who climb the narrative mountain during the season. If Edwards has a historic scoring finish and the Wolves secure a top seed, then conversations start to shift quickly. Let us examine the practical path for Edwards to win. Step one is health and availability. He must play a large percentage of the schedule and avoid long absences. Step two is elite box score production that stands out even in a star-laden league. That means averages that jump off the page, combined with high usage and solid efficiency. Step three is team success. The Wolves must be seen as a top contending team in the West. Step four is signature moments. Big wins in nationally televised games, overtime heroics, and playoff momentum all help. Now let us be honest about obstacles. The MVP award is highly competitive and context-driven. Edwards plays in the Western Conference where top stars often flood the headlines. The sheer number of deserving candidates makes the voting margins thin. Ballots sometimes reward longevity and consistency over short bursts of brilliance. Voter psychology is also an invisible but real factor. There is sometimes an unconscious preference for players who have a pre-existing aura of being the best player in the league. Edwards is still building that aura. He needs sustained dominance across multiple months to change perception. Let us look at statistical models that predict MVP. Most models weigh player impact metrics, team wins, and usage heavily. Edwards can score himself into strong model position if he sustains high efficiency at high usage. But those models also penalize inefficient or turnover-prone months. Edwards must minimize those slumps. A wild card that could swing things his way is dramatic team improvement. If the Timberwolves elevate their defense and win 55-plus games in a loaded West, then Edwards looks more like an indispensable engine. Voters love the story of a player who transforms his franchise into a title threat. Let us consider narrative impact. Edwards is magnetic on camera and authentic in interviews. He has charisma, which matters for narrative. The NBA MVP is part award for stats and part award for story. He can win hearts and votes not only through numbers, but through moments that capture the season. Another layer is the evolving criteria of modern MVP voters. Advanced analytics now share the stage with traditional counting stats. Metrics like win shares, box plus minus, and Raptor carry weight. Edwards will need to produce in the spaces tracked by those models. What about the schedule and matchups? The West schedule is brutal and full of high-intensity clashes. Edwards thrives in pressure games, and he often shows his best when the stakes are high. That helps when voters remember performances in tough arenas and against top opponents. We also have to speak about supporting cast. Basketball is a team sport, and an MVP often needs a competent supporting lineup. The Timberwolves have built around Edwards with veterans and role players who fit his game. If the supporting cast stays healthy and complementary, then Edwards does not have to shoulder every minute burden. Let us get tactical for a moment. If opposing defenses try to force Edwards into inefficient three-point shooting, then he must show adjustments. He has developed more off-ball movement and mid-range craft. Those adjustments reduce predictability and improve true shooting percentage. Momentum matters in the middle of the season. A long streak of 30-point games with efficient splits will force sports writers to place him higher on ballots. Voters are influenced by the media narrative and by the daily rhythm of games. Betting markets give us a window into public perception. As of this week, his odds place him as a long shot, but not an impossible one. Odds change quickly based on early season form injuries and team records. If Edwards opens the season with a string of monster games, those odds will shorten fast. Injury risk is the great equalizer. No matter how brilliant a season looks on paper, an injury can remove a player from the conversation. Edwards must be durable and available for voters to meaningfully consider him. We should pause and celebrate what he already represents. Edwards is a conversion story of raw talent into refined star power. That arc resonates with fans and with the narrative arc of MVP seasons past. Now let us briefly imagine a perfect scenario. Edwards averages above 30 points per game with excellent efficiency. The Timberwolves finish top 3 in the West and show defensive improvement. Edwards produces multiple signature performances on national television. Writers and broadcasters adjust their narratives mid-season, and editors place him on more top-end ballots. At the end of the season, those ballots add up, and the award goes to a dynamic, fearless leader who carried his team. That scenario is plausible. It requires excellence, durability, and a favorable narrative arc. Now imagine the realistic scenario. Edwards has another elite scoring season, and the Wolves remain competitive. He finishes top 10 in MVP voting and earns greater respect around the league. That outcome is more likely than an outright MVP given the depth of the field. Let us end with a few takeaways and a closing reflection. Anthony Edwards has the talent and the charisma to be an MVP contender. He also faces structural challenges in a crowded league. Health efficiency and team wins are the simple checklist that he must tick. If this season becomes his narrative season, then voter minds will bend to the story. If not, then he will still be a superstar with a growing legacy. That is the beauty of sports and of this conversation. You can assemble data and models, and still the human element of narrative can tip the scales. Anthony Edwards sits at the intersection of talent, timing, and story. That makes him one of the most watchable players this season. Thanks so much for watching NBA Stories and for taking this deeper look at Anthony Edwards and the MVP picture. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Tell us in the comments what moment would convince you that Edwards is the MVP. See you next time and enjoy the games. Thank you.